The Ashes are underway. Australia are 1-0 up, but Travis Head's sensational knock perhaps only gave Australia more questions than answers for their top order makeup. Welcome to Domesticated. I'm Justin Edwards. Fox Cricket's Nick Savage joins me. Nick, we spent weeks talking about who was going to be Usman Khawaja's opening partner. Jake Weatherwood won the race, and he still hasn't opened with Usman Khawaja.
Well, it wasn't even weeks. We spent 2 years trying to find an opening partner for Usman, and he was right there all along, down at number 5. Travis Head, what a knock. A 69-ball 100. Does he back it up for the second test in Brisbane? I mean, that's something we'll find out over the coming days. Obviously, with this test match finishing 2 days as well, there's now such a long break ahead of this next test match, and all these little storylines are going to be whirling away in the background, and all the speculation will mount, and yeah, there's heaps to unpack.
Usman Khawaja, his injury, the reading between the lines of what Andrew McDonald said, I think he's going to be okay. He's going to be fit. Whether he's selected for Brisbane is a different question. Travis Head at the top of the order, that feels like the high risk, high reward approach. When it pays off, it will pay off spectacularly, just like it did in that first test. But you lose, if Australia are 3 for 30, you lose that counter-acting punch in the middle order. If they're going well, you also lose that ability to accelerate it. Even if they're 4 for 200, he can accelerate really through to perhaps a declaration score. So that feels like the safer option is for him in the middle order. Is that how you think?
Yeah, I think what Andrew McDonald said to reporters on Monday was this could open the door for him to potentially play that role, maybe as a second innings enforcer. Say, for example, Australia has a small lead in the first innings. Send Travis out to get a quick start and make sure there's enough time to get those 10 wickets in the second innings. That is the role he could play. You know, it's just the ability to adjust the batting order mid-match is now something that the Australian team could do. I still think they'd like a specialist to open up there, maybe not a Travis Head. It's an option if needed, but I don't see him being, cool, you're opening the batting and facing the new ball for the next 5 years. I don't think Australia's going to go down that path.
Yeah, that is the high risk. You're sort of exposing your great weapon to perhaps his greatest vulnerability being the new ball. Usman Khawaja is the other interesting part of it. Whether he is fit or not will be determined in the next few days. He did look sort of every bit a 38-year-old man walking off the field holding his back. Spasms, you can generally recover from them pretty quickly, but he got out cheaply in the first innings, didn't bat in the second. A little bit of talk about it, I'm not buying into that. I think it's totally fine that he played golf the day before. That is fine. But there is a concern there about his output. Would you be selecting him for Brisbane? Is it too close to say that he's not Australia's best option at the top of the order already? He's already Australia's oldest Test cricketer since Steve Waugh. So these conversations will happen in the coming tests, the coming weeks anyway. Is it too soon to be having them right now?
I mean, it gets to that point where is he jeopardising the Ashes campaign? I mean, he really threw that first innings for Australia all over the place, minus having to open Steve Smith out there in the first over. That is not an ideal plan for the Australian side. They do not want Steve Smith facing in the first over. So, I mean, he stood at first slip for 90 minutes and went off the field with back spasms. That's not ideal for a player who's meant to be leading this batting side for the next 5 tests. Would I be picking him? My gut feels they're given one more game, one more chance to prove his worth, because as we will discuss in a second, there are players actually starting to bash that door down in the domestic level. Matthew Renshaw is there and performing very, very well. He's now the leading run scorer in the Shield. So, and notably, he got that 100 recently this week at the Gabba in a pink ball game. Khawaja will probably get one more game. They will probably back him give him another chance, but they would need to start looking ahead, not just for this rest of this series, but in the future as well. And Australia has the advantage of being 1-0 up. That probably works in Khawaja's favour as well, as we spoke about off air. If Australia was 1-0 down, they might be willing to make that switch earlier. But this could be potentially Khawaja's last test if he can't prove his fitness and also prove that he isn't vulnerable to fast bowling from around the wicket, because it plagued him in the West Indies. He really struggled when the right armers were coming around the wicket, and his one dismissal was a pretty ugly shot. Yeah. Yes, it read off a good length, but he had both his feet in the air, flicked the glove on the way through. He looks susceptible. I mean, you talk about fading eyes as you get into your late 30s. He's not proving anyone that isn't the case for him.
Yeah, and it is, the selectors will know that it's a serious, it's not like Marnus Labuschagne where they dropped him and he could earn his way back. If you drop Usman Khawaja, you're ending his test career. And I think he's probably got one test to salvage his test career and to try to see his way through until the end of the summer, till that SCG test. But if he goes cheaply again, the two things that are going to be matter the most, I think, is the pressure from behind, which you mentioned, and we'll talk about more with Matt Renshaw, and the result. If Australia are 2-0 up, they're less likely to make change. You're always less likely to make change to a winning team, and you can back the guy who's got experience, especially when the third test is Adelaide, which is probably going to be the best batting pitch of the series. If it's 1-1, if England bounce back and win that second test, and Usman falls cheaply twice, they probably have to make that change. And it will probably be Matt Renshaw who made that at a superb 100 against the pink ball at the Gabba.
And in quite a low-scoring game as well. It was done by the end of day 3. Under lights, in one of those sessions, 9 wickets fell. I mean, is that sort of a forecast for what's going to happen in the Gabba test? But yeah, in a really low-scoring game, he really stood up and once again showed, he is one of the best in-form openers in the country at the moment. 3 Shield hundreds. He looked fantastic in that one-day series against India. And yeah, if he can survive against the pink ball, against a pretty decent attack, he's looking okay. I mean, Fergus O'Neill was in the Victorian side. He's one of the best pink ball bowlers in the country, and he starved it off pretty well. So yeah, very exciting for Matt Renshaw. Whenever Khawaja does retire, whether that's end of this summer, sometime next year, he's probably the leading player to take that spot. And Renshaw with Weatherald, I kind of like that as an opening partnership. Both left-handers, but one is an aggressor who can counter-punch. One soaks up the pressure. I like that dynamic between the two of them. So is that a glimpse of Australia's next opening partnership, potentially?
I suspect, assuming Usman Khawaja plays that second test, Matt Renshaw will be playing at the same time for Australia A. That squad hasn't been named yet, but I would be shocked if Renshaw is not in it. It's probably going to be Matt Renshaw and Campbell Kellaway, you would think, opening the batting there. Kellaway, been in good form, had struggled with the pink ball in that game. So Renshaw, you'd think, is ahead of him right now if Australia needed somebody in this test. That Australia A game could be critical. And if you have two things happening at the same time, which is Khawaja struggling and Renshaw getting runs against the England Lions, that's going to be a strong pace attack, probably stronger than most Shield sides. That could be critical, and that will be the thing that could get Matt Renshaw back into the test team for Adelaide. That Australia A game that's happening concurrently with the second test.
That's going to be massive. And I guess the problem with Renshaw in the past has always been scoring runs at the wrong time. Leading into a series, he was always plagued by low scores. And then once the squad had settled, then he'd start, converting the starts into triple figures. For the first time in quite a while, he started the summer superbly. He looks good. He's gained a lot of fans by how he's spoken to media and in press conferences. He's very comfortable with where he is in his professional and personal life. He's in his late 20s, which a lot of people say is the peak of your batting powers. No, 100% right. I think that Australia A game is going to give a glimpse into what could happen in the second half of the series. I'd love to see Jai Richardson in that game too. I'd love to see Fergus O'Neill and Xavier Bartlett in that game. Hopefully going to get a squad in the coming 48 hours potentially for that as well. Because if more injuries do come about, I mean, look at how many injuries are already in the test side. These are the players that are going to have to potentially rescue Australia if they are 2-1, 2-all. We don't know how the series is going to progress. It's going to be massive. So yeah, that Australia game, keep an eye on it. It'll be huge.
The other thing in Matt Renshaw's favour is his ability to bat anywhere 1 to 6. It's one of the reasons I thought they were going to pick him in the initial squad, because he's sort of the perfect concussion substitute. Because if any of the top 6 go down, he can fit that role. But with Travis Head having that flexibility to open, and they decide they want to open with Travis Head in the second innings, Renshaw can slot in at 5, no problems. So that's an advantage in his favour. The other guy that's now proving he can bat in multiple positions is Josh Inglis. He played for the Caxi, which is what I call the CA11, 125 not out from 107 balls, but he was opening the batting, which he's not really done at all in red ball cricket. So this was a specific move from the Australian camp to go and play that game and open in case we want that style of player later in the Ashes.
Yeah, you cast your mind back 12 months to who was going to open with Khawaja for the Border Gavaskar. For a while, it kind of came down to McSweeney or Inglis, both of which were middle order players. But the obvious problem with Inglis was he's never batted above 4 in the Sheffield Shield. And I think him and Mitch Marsh both had that problem of the higher they bat, the lower their Shield average was. It seemed like 6-7 was perfect for Inglis. He's proven that not to be the case. He can absolutely open the batting. That wasn't the highest scoring game either. In the England Lions, no one really got above 60, 70 in that second innings. So for him to score 100 in, I think, 89 balls really suggested that he can step up in whatever position. He has been a floater in the squad before. He made his debut at 5 and got 100 in Gaul. Then he took over Steve Smith in the West innings at 4. He really struggled in that game, unfortunately. A couple of pretty poor dismissals, very soft dismissals. But he is considered more than capable of playing as a specialist batter. So if there was a gap 1 to 6 anywhere in this Australian side, he could slot in anywhere, even potentially opening. We're talking about Renshaw.
Yeah. Inglis
is already in that squad for the Perth Test. If we're talking about a progression and sort of the next in line, next cab off the rank, it is Inglis. So, yeah, and he just like you said before with Renshaw, with Head opening that second innings, Inglis could definitely come down at 5 or 6, depending where Green is. So, yeah, there's a lot of things for the selectors to think about. The left-right-hand combination, does that work in Inglis's favour as well with Weatherald? Who would have predicted at the start of the summer we were talking about Weatherald and Inglis as the opening partnership for Ashes Test?
He does. He feels like he's really unlucky at the moment, Josh Inglis, that he's not in Australia's team because he's the most obvious replacement. If imagine any of the 11 players getting injured. If Alex Carey gets injured, there's not even a discussion for who comes in. Inglis comes in. But it feels like 7 is too low for him to be batting because he could bat. He's got 100 batting 5. He's just got 100 for the CA11 opening. It's just how are we not finding a way to get this guy into the team? But I imagine when Australia next go to India and Travis Head will open because that's been their plan for a long time, Inglis is best placed. Inglis leads the way to fill that middle order slot. And I think that Josh Inglis and Travis Head are probably the two of the most similar cricketers in Australia. They play exactly the same way, exactly the same. I suppose Smith and Marnus are very similar as well, but that's absolutely a like for like Head and Inglis. Even though Inglis is a wicketkeeper, he can bat 7, he can open. It feels really unlucky at the moment that he's playing some of the best cricket of his career, doing so well for Australia in the white ball setup, but he's just not quite in the Test team.
Martin Love, Brad Hodge, Stuart Law, it's a problem. The Klinger, David Hussey, there are so many players the past generation who face this same problem. Just the issue is the moment there is a surplus of options in that middle order. Someone we haven't even mentioned is Bo Webster, who was so unlucky to miss selection for that first Test. And really, if there is a middle order option, he should come in too because, for the pink ball Test, having someone who can bowl seamers and spin in those middle session if needed, he's a very handy player as well. There's just too many options. Peter Hanscom is one of the highest run scorers in the Sheffield Shield at the moment. He's coming off another 100 against the New South Wales, the SCG. There's just not a spot for him. Even if he scores another 300s in a row, there probably isn't going to be a vacancy. So there are a lot of unlucky players who traditionally would fit into that 5-6 role. And I guess the good thing for Inglis is he has shown he doesn't have to be a 5 to 7. Webster has batted 3 before for Tasmania. He did that relatively well early in his career. But it's widely agreed that he's a perfect number 6. There are so many intertwining storylines within this Test side. It really only feels like there are about 6 locks for this Gabba Test. We don't know if Lyon's going to play. Do they go for an all-pace attack? We don't know who's going to open with Weatherald. Does Weatherald get another chance? He didn't exactly, blow the world away in the first Test. There's so many question marks and storylines for the next 10 days for us to unpack. Yeah,
Pat Cummins potentially returning as well. There is some cricket this weekend. We'll have the PM's 11. Pete Hanscom, you mentioned, is going to be the captain for the Australian side against this England Lions team. I wasn't expecting any of those top 7 to come and play it. That would be a significant diversion of the plans. And just because that Test ended in 2 days, and I think Peter Siddle, who's also going to be playing, is at 40, which is great, he was quite right when he said, it's just so different. Canberra to the Gabba is just so different. You're probably going to be worse off in your preparation if you were to come to Canberra with a really low bouncing knee height ball and then going to the Gabba where it's rearing up. It's better to just go to Brisbane and practice up there. We are going to have a couple of the youngsters, Constas, McSweeney, Kellaway, all playing in that PM's 11 go. It'll be good to watch.
Oliver Peake as well is definitely worth a mention. He's such an exciting player. He's gone on tours with Australia, I think, to Sri Lanka earlier this year. He went as a development player and another star for the future. Yeah, plenty of names to look out for there. Constas, he's been really, really inconsistent over the past couple of months, as we've spoken about, but a chance for him to, he's at every chance of coming back to the Test side at some stage, so a chance for him. Nathan McSweeney, again, hasn't nailed his chances in the Shield. Glimpses of excellence over the last couple of months, but when Steve Smith steps down, I still love the idea of McSweeney going to 4 in the Test side. So if he can get some runs, he's every chance there. And Peter Siddle, as you mentioned before, I mean, steaming in with a pink ball under lights in Canberra, how exciting. He's still got a Big Bash contract. He'll be coming around again this summer, but he's going to be leading this attack and I'm sure giving some nightmares for the English Lions players.
Yeah, all that action on Fox Sports and KO this weekend. Now, there were a few hundreds in the Shield this weekend. We've spoken about Matt Renshaw's. All the other hundreds seemed to come in the one innings. It was Tasmania putting up 8 for 623, their second highest Sheffield Shield score ever at Cricket Central, and hundreds for Nikhil Chowdhury, Tim Ward and Caleb Jewell. They belted New South Wales.
Really exciting things happening in Tasmanian cricket at the moment. I mean, they've had a really decent start to their Shield, the Big Bash reigning champions as well in the men's competition. And yeah, a lot of these players who haven't had the best start to their summer, Caleb Jewell in particular, had a great county championship. He's finally managed to get some runs here. He got the innings off to a flyer, and Chowdhury's innings was spectacular. He's such a talented gun. He's a really, really strong player. Matt Kuhneman opening the batting and the bowling in those middle innings.
So what was Ahmedabad? Australia did that?
Yeah, absolutely bizarre. I mean, it worked. He put on 30-odd, 40-odd at the top of the order with Jewell, got them off to a good start. Obviously no Weatherald, so they had to find someone to slot him there. In my mind, I thought it was going to be Tim Ward, but he's at 3. He's looking solid there. And then opening the second innings, great performance from the Tasmanians. Actually rolled through New South Wales in that second innings. I think Gai Bell took 3 wickets in an over to really open it up for them. And they only got the win with maybe 90 minutes left in that final day. So, yeah, I mean, they're a good chance of making that final alongside Victoria. I haven't looked at the ladder, but I think they might be at number 2 at the moment. So, yeah, keep an eye on this Tasmanian team. A lot of exciting talent there.
Kuhneman, I think it was a British journalist who called Moeen Ali a false 3, like the idea of a false 9 striker. Matt Kuhneman's a bit like that as a false opener, kind of like a night watchman. Just see what you can do. If you get out cheaply, it doesn't really matter. You're going to bat 11 anyway. It's not a bad idea, and I wouldn't mind seeing it a bit more often, especially in pink ball games. I know that game wasn't a pink ball game, but getting like almost the way you played on uncovered wickets 100 years ago in pink ball games, like send the bowlers out to deal with that pink ball at lights, and then the batsman can come out the next day, beautiful sunshine, and bat there. Nikhil Chowdhury is a really interesting story. 163, it was a great innings, smacked Tanveer Sangha for a few sixes. He is a player who was born in India, played for Punjab in domestic cricket over there, and has come to Australia, is a permanent resident here in Australia, still an Indian citizen, but was the first Indian player to score 100 in the Sheffield Shield. So that's a really nice story, and we will see a lot more of him for the Hobart Hurricanes in the Big Bash. He does well. Good all-rounder spin bowling option as well.
Yeah, certainly. I think we're going to be seeing a lot more South Asian representation in domestic cricket over the coming years. You know, a generation ago, the sport did seem pretty private class, white. It was a Anglo-Saxon kind of demographic, but we're starting now already in grassroots cricket and club cricket, a lot more South Asian. It's starting to reflect more the fan base in this country, and that will gradually over time seep into the domestic circuit. We've spoken about Tanveer Sangha. Sandhu took 5 wickets up at the Gabba this week, so he's obviously been around for about 10 years or so now. There will be more of that over the coming years. And another example of, a former Indian player starring in Australia. I mean, we're hoping to have Ashwin here this summer in the Big Bash. Maybe not the best example necessarily, but we'd love to see more Indian players in the Big Bash, in state cricket. It wasn't long ago we had, the likes of Brian Lara and New Zealand players and players from all over the world coming and playing in the Sheffield Shield, even just for brief cameos. Could we open the door for that to happen again? Maybe not, potentially not.
Probably not.
But that would be great to see.
I'd love to see a bit of star power in the Sheffield Shield. Nick Savage, thanks so much for your company. If you want a bit more cricket this weekend, the PM's 11 against the England Lions Saturday and Sunday from Canberra will be on Fox Sports and KO.